This week's episode is sponsored by the Ordway Center for the Performing Arts in downtown St. Paul, presenting Mandy Patinkin, Being Alive with Adam Ben David on piano on April 19th and 21st. A Tony and Emmy award-winning performer, Being Alive presents the acclaimed actor, singer, storyteller in his most electrifying role, concert performer. Being Alive is a collection of many of Mandy's favorite Broadway and classic American tunes, from Irving Berlin to Stephen Sondheim, from Cole Porter to Harry Chapin. Mandy Patinkin takes you on a dazzling musical journey you'll never forget. For tickets and more information, go to ordway.org or click the link in the show notes. Welcome to this week's Who the Folk podcast. I'm Lonnie Goldsmith, the editor of TCG Folk. This week I talked to Lily Smith, the newest on-air talent at the radio station KS95. We talk about what goes into training to be on air at the station, the pivot to working in entertainment from her original path, and how Herzl Camp started her on this journey on this week's Who the Folk podcast. Lily Smith, welcome to the Who the Folk podcast. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm excited to be here.
Very excited to talk to you. You are the newest on-air talent at KS95,
Yes.
radio station here in the Twin Cities, KSTP, not KSTP. Is it KSTP?
Yes, it is KSTP.
It's so funny because I don't know, I used to know all the call letters, like growing up, I would know the call. Now, like, they all get shortened to like two letters and a number.
Yeah, well,
Or
it's KS95, which is KSTP, which is under Hubbard Broadcasting, which is also Channel 5 Eyewitness News. It's like an
which is also KSTP television.
Yes. So it like all connects. And
Yes.
there's a bunch of different radio stations tied in as well.
That's true. That's true. But you are the newest on-air talent on KS95.
Yes.
Mazel tov on
Thank
the
you.
job. First of all, that's amazing. I guess, how did you get into it? Because I know, like, being a radio DJ sounds like it would be really fun. Like, you listen to the shows and the people on the air who introduce the songs and the banter in between sound like they're having a great time.
Oh, yeah.
Is that, I mean, I guess what led you this path?
Led me to, well, when I was younger, I always wanted to be in entertainment and I wanted to be a comedian. And
okay.
yes. And I never like really thought that would be a position I could get to. Because, like, it doesn't make much money starting out. That's true. Obviously. And actually, when I was at Herzl Camp, when I was a staff member, I was given a spot in the 12 Gates comedy show. And so I started writing for that, and I was on that for 2 years, and I loved it. And I was like, oh, okay, I can actually be funny, not just in conversation. I can write this. I love this. And that was a huge passion of mine. And then when I came, then I actually changed my major in college because of 12 Gates. I was a political science major, but I switched to cinema and media culture. So learning to
wow, that's quite a left turn.
Yeah, definitely. I thought that like political science, like I was really good at like AP government in high school and that sort of thing, and I was into it. And sure, like it's on the back burner, like I know a lot about it, but I don't, it's not a passion of mine really. It was just something I was decent at. So then I switched to cinema and media culture, otherwise known as like film or movies. And I like to say that when I went to school, I just watched a bunch of movies. I don't know why you guys why'd you try and work so hard? I was just watching movies. And then after I graduated, I was looking for jobs in the entertainment industry, and like it was during the strike in LA and all of that, and I really wanted to move to New York or LA or Chicago or just like leave somewhere, and it didn't work out. So I ended up going and being the social media coordinator at Treasure Island Resort and Casino.
Okay.
Yes, and at Treasure Island there were concerts, and it was a Carrie Underwood concert, and Chris Carr from K102 was hosting a pre-show party. And I walked up to him and I cornered him and I said, I want to be in entertainment. You're on the radio. Let's chat. And so then I went to, then we chatted a little bit. Then later in October, I'd gotten a different job and he contacted me and asked me if I wanted to be on K102. So I was on K102 one morning, and then in January I was on KDWB, and I was like, "Oh, I really like this." So I searched radio jobs in Minnesota, and I got a position at KS95.
See, I would have thought like I'm used to the sort of journalism world where to sort of work, and I grew up in working in newspapers and wanting to work in newspapers, and like the people I know who are at big papers now started in like South Dakota or like very rural parts of the country.
Sure.
You don't just get a job in a big city like this right away, but like you did. It's kind of like a little bit remarkable that you're just
Thank
able
you.
to do that.
Thank you. I think, um, well, I also like while all of this was going on, I started taking comedy classes for stand up, and then I auditioned to be in an improv group. So I do improv and comedy at Stevie Ray's, which is out of Chanhassen. Do you know what
Okay.
that is?
I don't.
It's based in Chanhassen Dinner Theaters, but it's its own company, Stevie Ray's Comedy Cabaret.
Okay.
And I think because I had that on my resume, that helped a little bit because people knew people who were at like Stevie Ray's, that they're like, oh, it's like an actual place that she gets on stage and talks. Um, so I don't know, I'm really grateful for this opportunity. It's been a lot of fun learning everything.
So what's the learning curve like for you going it because it's not like you had that like college radio experience.
Yeah.
You're coming into it very fresh. You have the ability to talk to people
Hmm.
and to be clever and funny and witty, like all of those things that are good for banter. But you don't have the on-air expertise. How do
Yeah.
you get that when you've never had it in this kind of field?
Well, so most people come in with the technical aspect, like they know how to run the board and they know how radio works, but they don't know how to talk.
Okay.
Um, so I did the reverse learning where I had to learn the board and learn all of the like technological parts with the microphone and make sure ensuring that I'm playing the music correctly and the on and off and the recording and putting in the music beds and making it all smooth and connecting the music so that I'm not talking over the chorus, like that sort of stuff. I had
Yeah.
to sit down and learn that. And it was helpful that I majored in film because when I was in school, we would edit short films. And so it's kind of like editing a short film, but it's just the audio.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I
So,
I would think that doing it the way you are, having the ability to talk and banter and all of that, that to me feels like it's the easier way to do it than coming in knowing the technical skills but having no ability to talk on a microphone or to
yeah,
people.
you would think that, but I don't know. Some people, they're the opposite.
Interesting.
Some people do not want to talk on the microphone and they just want to do the pushing the buttons.
Sure.
Yeah. And I wanted to talk on the microphone. So
Which
I had
it's
to
great.
learn. Yeah, it's fun.
So what's the most daunting part so far?
I'm nervous that when I'm like gonna be talking about a promotional thing, I'm just gonna totally butcher every word I say and I'm not gonna be able to like get the promotion out of my mouth
Mm.
and it's gonna cut off. And that's what I'm nervous for. Like I'm nervous I'm gonna start stumbling over my words.
Sure. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
feels like a legit concern.
Yes. It is a legit concern.
How has it been so far though? Like you've I know it hasn't been long. It's only been a
No.
couple of weeks. Are you feeling sort of settled in?
Yes, definitely. I think I've gotten the hang of it.
That's awesome. So you're not right now, people can hear you if they are insomniacs. They can hear you when? Because right now
They
you're
can
doing some
hear
middle of the
me.
night stuff.
Yes. So in April, I'm on the weekends, from midnight to 5 a.m., midnight to 6 a.m., kind of depending on the day.
Okay.
Um, and so if you're awake at that time, you can listen to me if you're going to the airport for
Sure.
spring break or something. Hopefully starting in May, I'm gonna be live on weekends. Later in May, maybe into June. And
Okay.
so I'll be doing like the weekend show. There's not a name for it, but maybe I can ask for one.
There you go.
Yeah.
So like what hours would a weekend show be then?
Depends on what time they want me. I could be from 6 to 9 a.m. or 6 to 1 p.m.
Okay.
or 12 noon to 5. Kind of depends on the day, depends on the weekend. And the studio deals with all of those types of analytics with people listening.
Sure.
I don't touch that. I'm just the talent.
That's absolutely. There's
Yeah.
let people crunch the analytics. That's fine.
Yes.
So with the recorded stuff, I'm super interested because I just always assumed that everything like somebody drags themselves in at midnight and that
Hmm.
like to let people in, it's a little before 6 o'clock in the afternoon when you and I are talking. I assume that you had just woken up and were getting ready to go to the studio for an overnight, which is clearly not the case.
No, it's not the case.
But
I
so,
do.
but so how much are you recording? Like, if you're knocking off a bunch of stuff in 45 minutes, is that just sort of you're setting up the songs and the promos and the things that, and they create like a 5 hour block of radio out of that?
Yes. So it's they have like a log of
Okay.
where we're supposed to talk and put different things and transition the music from an ad to a song. And so there's a kind of a cue sheet that tells you, oh, okay, I'm going to talk here and I'm going to talk for 14 seconds because that's how long the song intro is. And you make it fit with the song. So when it's live, you can see, oh, I have 14 seconds to talk. The second the song ends, you turn on your microphone, you talk for 14 seconds or for 13 seconds, and then you turn off your microphone and you let the song go.
The good thing about the midnight to five right now is that it's a weekend shift for you, which is good. Before we were started recording, you mentioned that you also had a regular 9 to 5 job during the week. Why don't you tell us a little more about what that is?
I work at the University of Minnesota Landscape Arboretum.
Oh, love the Arboretum.
Yes, it's so nice. I do their social media, so the Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. I do all of that. I take the pictures, I write the captions, I create the ad campaigns, all of that. That's me.
So much good stuff to Instagram too.
Yeah, right now the dahlias are blooming and it's they're all just so gorgeous.
Oh, that's awesome. That's such a great
Mhm.
place.
Yeah.
Such a great. There's something about the Southwest Metro for you between that and the comedy all being out in the same area.
I know. I should just move to like Chanhassen, Chaska, right on Highway 5 over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna make your commute to Hubbard, which is in the on University in the Midway area, a
Yes.
little bit longer.
Yeah. Well, right now my drive from my house to the Arboretum is like 25 minutes, but my drive from my house to Hubbard is like 17.
Oh, it's
So
about right in the middle. Like
yeah,
you're
I'm right in
pretty
the middle.
close. That's probably
Yeah.
not the worst spot to be in.
No, it's okay. And I bought myself a nice car, so I'm fine.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So when you made the decision to switch majors, was this the kind of work you had in mind?
Not at all. I
Oh,
didn't I
fascinating.
did I did not even consider radio as an option.
Okay. What did you
I
want to do with the background?
it's still a want of mine. I want to write TV shows and movies
Okay.
and I'd have fun on SNL too if I could get that. Um but that's a reach. Um
Listen, dream big.
Exactly. That was my parents. Whenever they would ask me and my brother, they would say, "Oh, what do you guys want to be when you grow up?" My brother would say, I want to own my own business and whatever, blah blah blah." And my mom has reminded me recently, since I got this job, she said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I would always respond with famous. And they would say, "Well, what job do you want to do?" Or, "No, I just want to be famous." And so I guess when I was younger, I was a little conceited and thought that I had fame in my future. Now I've kind of figured out, oh, I can be funny sometimes, so maybe that will get me to be famous.
Listen, fame take lots of different shapes.
Exactly.
How you get there, the path you take
Yes.
can be very different.
Yeah. So I mostly was focusing on like movies and TV shows,
Okay.
but I don't know. That one Carrie Underwood concert when I ran into Chris Carr changed everything.
Do you have to like the music at the station you work at? Because obviously K102, KS95, KDWB, like all in the Hubbard family, all vastly different genres of music.
The KS95 is Hubbard and K102 and KDWB are both iHeart.
Okay.
So they're different. Yeah.
Oh, well,
Um,
thank you for correcting. I
yeah, no problem.
so
So
but genre wise, they're very different. So you're talking to somebody
yeah,
about country and he wants to put you on the air and KDWB, like they're all very different styles of music. Does it
yeah.
matter when you're the DJ, when you're the on-air talent?
I Yes and no. When I was a guest on K102, it didn't matter
Okay.
because I was a guest.
Right.
Um, and I would say my vibe is more KDWB, KS95, because that's today's hits.
Yeah.
It's today's variety, pop culture, that sort of stuff. I like country often, but it's not what I press play on Spotify. So
Reasonable.
I'm definitely a better fit for
Okay.
KS95 for sure.
Okay. That's
Hmm.
totally reasonable. What genre of movie or TV would you want to work on? What's
Comedy.
your comedy? Okay.
Yeah. Either that or like general like stupid comedy, kind of like super bad, or more recently I've always loved Borat, but who doesn't love Borat?
Right.
Trying to think. There's been some I think it was called Good Boys, where you we were just watching the show and you're like, who wrote this? Like if someone is watching a movie or TV show that I wrote, I want people to be asking who wrote this,
Yeah.
because that is like, who in their right mind would come up with some sort of idea like this? I want it just to be so ridiculous that people are looking up who wrote this. So that's kind of the comedy area that I want to go into, where it's
Okay.
like ridiculous, inappropriate, funny humor, where like there's the new Jennifer Lawrence movie that came out a few months ago. I
Oh,
think
yeah, I remember the trailers for it.
it's like No Strings Attached or something. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's some variation of like um this woman is going to help this 18-year-old boy learn how to speak to women,
Yep.
basically, or learn women. And it was just so
Oh,
ridiculous.
no hard feelings?
No hard feelings, thank you.
Yep.
Yes, it's No Hard Feelings. Um, where it was just so ridiculous. I was like, oh my God. Like I just want people's jaw on the floor if they're watching something that I wrote.
I love that you're into premises that are like so dumb and absurd that they're
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, if you take like a basic premise of anything, it can either be as basic as the premise or it can be insane.
Yeah.
And so I want to push the insane. Did you see Saltburn?
I've not seen Saltburn.
Okay, so there are the people who saw Saltburn who are like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I can't believe someone would write this. It's offensive, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then there's people like me who are like, oh my God, the writer is a genius. How did they think of this? Because it was just so ridiculous.
I know it's on Amazon Prime. And
Yes.
so I'll give it a watch. I think a lot of people felt that way about Fleabag also.
Yes, I don't think I've seen that one. But
that's also on Prime.
Okay.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge, it's hilarious and it's offensive and it's ridiculous. It like in a very sort of British
oh, sure.
way.
Yeah.
But it's like I was rewatching Old School recently.
Okay.
And just like in tears because there's that part of me that is totally like a 10-year-old boy who thinks that kind of stuff is hilarious.
Exactly. Like you just want to be able to, when you're watching a movie or a TV show, you want to turn your own life off and you want to go into someone else's.
Yes.
And it just needs to be like that. And you want someone thinking about the movie the next day. Like that's all. But I would recommend if you're going to watch Saltburn, don't watch it with your kids in the room.
Okay.
They can watch it by themselves when they're ready.
It's not one of those things you don't want to be in the room.
It's not a family show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it a show or is it a series or a movie?
It's a movie, but it's
okay.
Yeah, it's not a family ordeal.
Okay, that's good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
Always on the lookout for more interesting things to watch.
Yes, it's good.
So I will definitely keep that in mind. Well, Lily Smith, this has been fantastic. We're going to end on the last couple questions we always end on first.
Great.
What is your favorite Jewish holiday?
Oh, that's a good one. It's between Passover and Rosh Hashanah for similar reasons.
Okay.
Because I still live in Minnesota and people come home for those. And so I get to see people and I get to gather with my friends and my family. And they just always, like for Rosh Hashanah, we go to synagogue and make sure we do that. And then for Passover, there's the Seder that takes 4 to 7 hours. And so it's forced time together, which I love.
Yes.
Yes.
And what is your favorite Jewish food?
Oh, the challah my mom makes.
What is it about? What's the secret touch that puts it over the top?
She doesn't cook it all the way, so it's a little doughy in the middle.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Yes, it's super good.
Well, Lily Smith, thank you so much for joining me. This has been a blast. Best of luck with your career in radio or whatever other media you
Thank you.
make the move into, and we will have links to Stevie Ray's where people can find you on stage doing your improv thing as well in the show notes. Best of luck with everything. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
The Who the Folk podcast is a part of the Jew Folk Podcast Network and a product of Jew Folk Inc. Please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. If you have suggestions for other podcast guests, please email them to me at editor@tcjewfolk.com. For our other shows, check out tcjewfolk.com/podcast.